Hello there. In this programme, we're going to try our best to explain how the whole business of handicapping works in the horse racing industry. The principle of handicapping is to try and create a situation where every horse in the race has an equal chance of winning. The handicapper is central to the horse racing industry, so it's best to hand you over to someone who knows exactly what they're talking about.
Handicapping is about equalising the chances of all horses to win a race. Handicapping comes about when horses have raced against each other and the handicapper, in this case myself, makes an assessment of the horse's ability relative to all other horses in the race. If you don't have handicaps, the same horses will win races all the time, and this will get very boring very quickly, not for the winning owners. But it's the handicapper's job to try to make sure that all horses have an equal chance of winning. To handicap horses, you start off two different codes, national hunt and flat racing, two different sets of equations for horses being handicapped. Over hurdles, a minimum of 3 runs. Over fences, a minimum of 2 runs. If any of these runs are a win, it automatically qualifies that horse for a handicap mark, assuming the handicapper can make an assessment on that win. There are some exceptions. Having given you rules, there are some exceptions to this. Because of the way racing has gone, how expensive it can be at times, if a horse gets to the last hurdle or fence and pulls up or falls, this, while not technically a completed run, can be taken into account by the handicapper for the qualifying process. Weight for age, it's a terminology applied when, in trying to equalise the younger horses' chances against older, weight for age is a system that's employed. It is right through the season. You are allowed, the younger you are, the more weight you're allowed from the older horses, and as you progress through the season, you get less and less weight, so that towards the end of the year, you are getting to level terms. But weight for age helps the younger horses against the older ones through the season. Early closing handicaps differ slightly from the usual entries, which are done 5 days in advance. The early closing entries are merely for the bigger races, the bigger handicaps. They happen 2 to 3 weeks in advance of the race, and it gives punters an opportunity to bet longer on these races, and they are normally the races like the Galway Plate, Hurdle, the Irish National, races of that. They're the big handicaps. These are called early closing handicaps. Handicaps closing on a particular date means they're entered, you have to enter by a certain time, and once that time comes, you can't enter beyond that cut-off point. Handicap ratings are not set in stone. While certain owners and trainers might think this to be the case, in reality, what happens, once a horse is handicapped, he then runs, and all his subsequent runs add to the handicapper's knowledge, along with the owner and trainer, of that horse's ability. When this happens, the rating is adjusted, be it up or down, but the ratings are not set in stone. And I think people should understand that they are very fluid. They change every week that they run. They are published on the HRI website and published in the calendar also. But a misconception is that once you get a high rating, and it's always the high ratings they worry about, they don't change. This is not the case. You can find ratings, National Hunt or flat, on the HRI website, on Ross, and these ratings, because of the 5-day entry system, are updated on a regular basis, and the public, owners, trainers can find out their rating almost every day. You will find them updated and current. Horses incur penalties after they have won a race. within the system in Ireland, a horse can win on a Monday. If he then wants to run 2 or 3 days later, he will incur a penalty in that particular race. The type of penalty he incurs depends on the race he's running in. The majority will be what we would call mandatory penalties. It's described in the article of the race that you will carry a £4, £5, or whatever the article says. The second type is less common, and definitely less popular, discretionary penalties given by the handicapper, where he says he thinks the horse has improved £10 or maybe no pounds at all, and he gets no penalty. That's the difference between discretionary and mandatory penalties. So, what happens when the handicapper makes an assessment of the horse and the trainer or owner doesn't agree with the handicapper? This almost never happens in National Hunt, but on the odd occasion there are rules by which the trainer or owner proceeds. They can, if they are very unhappy, they will go to the handicap and say, I disagree with your interpretation of my horse's form. If after that point the handicapper and trainer cannot come to an agreement, the trainer can then go to the Appeals and Referral Committee and complain officially about the mark the horse has gotten. At that stage, the handicapper has to give his reasons why he thinks the horse should have this mark. Owner or trainer will say why he doesn't have to. And the Appeals and Referral, they make a decision on what happens about the horse's mark. Thankfully, in my 30 years of handicapping, this has happened, I think, maybe twice or 3 times. It's unusual, but it's very important that it's there, because if owners or trainers are unhappy, they have to have recourse to somebody beyond the handicapper who's made the decision. When an Irish horse runs in England, he will run off a different handicap mark than he has in Ireland. This can be a slightly contentious topic, but I think if you explain it by the English handicappers decide themselves what weight they want the Irish horse to carry, it does not have to be what the horse carries when he runs in Ireland.
Well, hopefully that's made the mystery of handicapping just a little bit clearer for you, and that it will help you make a more informed choice in your search for the next winner. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.